so hot the tubes will actually start shaking and glowing red hot, and you can actually light the amp on fire.
Oh my God. So that doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
Just let me, I'm going to welcome the people.
Sure.
Welcome back to, I think it's episode 5 of Unsung. And, once again, this is for the people and by the people of Calgary specifically. And this week, I have none other than Emre Cords, a guy that I really need to know more about because I've heard this guy play and, I've heard him produce, and yet we've never really connected on this kind of level. So, welcome, man.
Yeah. Nice to be here, man.
Yeah, it's good to be with you.
It's an honor.
So I was just wondering, what have you been up to these days? What's going on with you? You said you just got off 5 days of gigging. So.
Yeah. So I'm playing a lot. I'm making a living as a musician. So I run a recording studio during the day and do sessions, and then at night I play. So I play every Monday at Mugs, every Wednesday at the Mad Rose Pub in Marda Loop. It's really cool. It's going to be a patio jam all summer on Wednesday.
All right. Full band?
No, it's just me.
Just you?
So those two are jams. So anyone can come. It's open mic. Usually there's a lot of cellos.
Right. Nice.
It's pretty cool.
You can't get enough cello.
Yeah, no. You can never get enough cello.
I think of Al Stewart records when I think of cello. When I think of pop cello, like there's a line in an Al Stewart, what's the name of the tune? I can't think of the name of the tune right now, but there's a cello line in there and I'll tell you what, when you're playing cello, in a pop record, you got to hear the cello.
Yeah.
You can't duck that shit. That shit's got to be
it's gonna roar.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be solid lines and solid playing.
Cello, right?
Yeah, I play a lot of cello. I've been playing cello for maybe 10 years. Yeah, I play a lot of acoustic guitar and synth.
Right.
I actually got a guitar synth that lets me do orchestral stuff while I play acoustic guitar.
Really? You do the Kawa thing too, don't you?
I used to do Kawa thing. I don't anymore. I play every Friday night at Brickwell, and that's a mix of originals and covers through my guitar and guitar synth and cello.
Okay. Where's that place at?
It's in the Northeast. It's the old Game Time. Remember Game Time?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we all used to have original gigs there.
Right.
So it's a wicked stage,
Cool.
Yeah, so I'm running a thing there. And then Saturday nights, I'm out at Lake Louise. Yeah.
Every Saturday?
Every second Saturday.
Every second Saturday?
Yeah. Same with Mugs. It's every second Monday. But
Right.
I get fill-in gigs and stuff. So I play 4 times a week.
Yeah.
Right? And keeps the voice in shape.
No doubt. Do you spend the night out there? At
Louise, it's great. It's
so
a nice
they put you
drive
up
out to the mountains and
That's nice. They give you a meal and shit?
Yeah, no, it's a great gig. I love that gig. And it's always packed.
Right.
And people always have fun, and there's encores and stuff, and people listen.
Yeah. Once again, just a single?
Yeah, just a single, yeah. So I'm also a looper. So I've tried to connect with loopers. I've tried to connect with other people who do this, but I don't get to meet many of them. There's a guy in Edmonton and one in Toronto that I've hung out with, but for the most part, I do something that I don't see other people doing, which is looping. So I'll, if I'm playing, even if it's covers, I'll record my first chorus, right? And then I'll shut it off, and then I'll play the second verse. And the next time the next chorus comes up, I'll play that. Plus now I'll do harmonies, and then I'll play guitar on top of that, and then I'll record that. Then the next time it comes up, I'll play a cello line and do a baritone voice. And
you'll be switching on the fly when you're playing.
Yeah, switching on the fly, and a lot of my music's. So I try to play original covers. We all do the same songs around town, right? So
sure.
I'd like to hear people's take on it, So I'm doing my take on Creep by Radiohead. I'm doing my take on.
I think that's the way it's got to be.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Bands, man,
if I can't play you my songs, at least let me play the songs the way I want to.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. So, and I'm playing in bands, where the guys well, we got to play this like the record.
Yeah.
And I'm like, even the guys that recorded this shit, when they play it live now, they're not playing it like the record.
Yeah, that's the truth.
They'll add sections, they'll change the arrangement, they'll speed it up, they'll slow it down, they'll do whatever the hell they want to.
I'm not a jukebox, man. I'm sorry. I'm here to do my thing. I'll do some of your thing, but
We're artists, right?
Yeah, no doubt. You gotta express.
Yeah.
It's all.
Totally.
It's what lets me sleep well at night.
Right.
When
you're being honest.
No, I'm doing it my way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck the way it goes.
So I'm interested because I don't know that much about you, and I'm interested in knowing a little bit more. I'd just like to know, where did Emre Cords come from? What was his start
Interesting.
in life?
Well,
at least this time around. if you believe in that shit.
Yeah, no doubt, eh? Well, I was born in Istanbul.
No shit.
Constantinople. I grew up, actually I was born in Ankara, which is the capital city of Turkey, but I grew up mostly in Istanbul, mostly in a place called Kuşadası and Mudanya, and Bird Island, basically. And I had a very interesting childhood and lived in 14 different countries before I ended up here.
So why did you live in that? Was it military? Or?
My dad was a geologist, so we moved around a lot.
Right.
And finally, we got to Canada in my very early teens. And,
Are your parents Turkish descent?
Yeah, both Turkish. And actually, it's an interesting story, but I won't get into too much of my family, rather to say that they were unique and very unique. And
see that right there.
Yeah.
That's something I didn't know about you. I didn't know you were from Turkey. I thought you were born and raised Calgary, like so many others.
No, I grew up in Istanbul. I've lived in Italy. I went to an all-boys Catholic boarding school in Malta.
No shit.
I've lived in Libya and Tripoli. Just kind of all over the Mediterranean.
Where, in your estimation, is the most interesting place you live?
Oh, geez, I'd have to say. It'd have to be Kuşadası, which is a small island that my ancestors grew up back to the 13th century. And it's called Bird Island because it's like a migratory route. And there's
Turkey?
Turkey, right? And there's a big hill that this very old farmhouse is situated upon. It's all ruined now, and it's been farmhouse upon farmhouse since the 1300s. And there's actually Roman cobblestone streets that lead down to the village of about 300 people. And it's an amazing, magical place, and the whole island is just full of olive groves and just cliffs. And
How old were you when you lived there?
I must have been 7. 7 or 8. I left Turkey when I was 8.
Right.
Came to Canada.
Man, that sounds like a good place to be a kid.
Yeah, pretty interesting. I'd like to go back and see it one day.
No doubt.
But I'm an army deserter. I never went back to Turkey to do my mandatory army duty.
You didn't.
So now I can't go back to Turkey.
No.
No.
At all?
No.
You get busted.
Yeah, life is a funny one. Well, I can go do my army training in the Syrian border.
Right. And
deal with some heavy shit, or I can pay 25 grand American.
You can do
25 grand American.
25 grand American.
That'll get me.
So you can pay your way out.
Yeah, I can pay.
Yeah, of course you can. Right?
So maybe one day I will.
Huh. Do you miss it? Do you have that much memory of it that you think you should go back? Certainly, there's history there.
There is, but life is, a good life is a bad memory.
Explain that to me. I'm curious about that.
I've lived so many lives, and I've had so many different incarnations of myself that some of them had to block out and erase completely, and just
kind of like all of us.
I can't remember shit. It's great.
Right. That's the blessing.
It's good.
Ignorance can be bliss.
It's good and bad. I kind of live for the now, and I see crisply back into 3-4 years ago, but that's, it's just everything else is a memory to blur. Well, so much, right? I've done some living.
No doubt, and I want to get into that because we're both about the same age. I'm 52, so we're pretty damn close.
Yeah.
And well, let's go back anyway. So 7 or 8, you leave Turkey.
Yeah.
Where'd you go?
Left Turkey. Well, that's a part of my life that, I was shot up by soldiers and stuff. I've been beat up pretty badly. I've broke my arm and fucking 38 places. Did some hard. I got wounds all over me, but I did some hard living before I came to Canada.
What precipitated that?
Just
the places you grew up?
Living in rough places, and always being the outcast, always being the guy who can't speak the language. Always being on the outside looking in, right? And yeah, so I mean, my life really started when I came to Canada, you know.
Let me go back to that though. What kind of effect did that have on you growing up? I mean, was that, you know, did you find any solace somewhere for that kind of shit?
No, you just get hard, you know, you get hard and rough, and you can kind of handle anything that life throws at you, you know. And so you learn to sit back, you learn to take a situation in, you learn to think about what you're doing, you know, you learn your place, and you learn when it's time to fight and when it's time to, you know, chill, right? So yeah, I mean, when I came to Canada, it was a relief. It was, you know, we got it easy here.
Well, you know, sometimes almost two.
We take it for granted.
Almost two, right? Because I find, personally,
we have the luxury to be almost.
well, my opinion is that we're somewhat complacent here.
Oh, completely. We get the luxury to be.
Right.
And because we're rich, we're all rich.
Yeah.
We have the luxury to question those things. Because we don't have to worry about what we're going to eat tonight. For the most part. Right? You know, for the most part, we all have a roof over. For the most part, we're all doing pretty okay. You know, I've lived in some places that people are not doing okay, and it's life and death.
But don't you think that part of what maybe made you, I don't know if I want to say better, but I'll say it for lack of a better term, made you a better person was the fact that you went through some shit?
Oh, totally, man. You learn how to relate that way. You know, you know. You can't help but have empathy when you see pain in someone else's eyes, right? You know.
Do you think that drove the musical, passionate side of you? The fact that you went through adversity and you said, maybe fuck it, I'm going to do what I want?
Yeah, totally. You know, my family has a lot to do with that, and you know, the
fuck it part.
You know, I kind of had to prove myself that way. I kind of had to go say, fuck it, I'm going to do music. Fuck what you all think, you know, and that's been the story of my life, really is.
And they might have had different plans.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, you know,
the story of my life is,
you know, you're
the
preaching.
story of my life
You're
is
preaching to the converted.
Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me.
Right. Well, isn't that the problem? When you tell somebody to do something, most of the time they won't do it.
No, it's a
You know, if you give them options,
Yeah.
they'll typically choose what's best for them.
Yeah, no,
Right? As long as you keep them straight.
Yeah.
As long as, you know, you keep that path narrow.
Well, it's also about agenda.
You know, whether you have an agenda for someone, right? You know,
Right.
you
And
know.
usually that comes back to the insecurity.
And that comes with being human. You know, everyone has their own different plans for us, right? You know, versus our own, right? So you know, you got to choose your path and you got to stick by it.
Who do you think you ultimately you listen to in that case?
Myself. Yeah, always. Right. Yeah. I'm the one who's got to live with it.
Right. And I think
I think that the planet, certainly I know some people that are better off for the fact that you chose your own direction. And when I say that, I talk about, you know, Sarah and Beth Keeley for one. Because, you know, not to say that she couldn't have done it somewhere else, because she probably would have. Because, you know, she's industrious and, you know, wanted to do what she did. But she chose you.
Yeah.
And I don't think for that first record, nobody would have done the job that you did on that record.
Yeah, that's true.
And
We
there's
spent
some good fucking songs.
No, we spent some good time together.
8 months,
really
right?
Kind of,
Putting everything through a sieve of, is this really good? Is this, you know, are these the two notes you should be doing here for sure? What are the alternatives? Is this the best of the alternatives? Is this guitar sound what we're shooting for? Is this, you know, how is this groove? You know, how does the song feel when you listen to it? Like, yeah,
and you took your time, right?
Yeah, no, it's really amazing to spend time with an artist and really seeing their vision and seeing what they're capable of and seeing what they want to do and helping them stick to that. You know, that I love that. That's a really strong.
Is that your MO? Is that kind of how you operate?
I think so. Like, you know,
I've definitely come to the point where I can say I'm a producer and I can produce you a good record, and that comes from working with many, many really cool producers. I've had some good breaks. Like I got to spend a lot of time with Bob Rock, Bruce Fairbairn,
in Vancouver?
in Little Mountain, Vancouver. Yeah. Bruce Fairbairn, Mike Fraser. I got to see Lindsey Buckingham produced Danny Levito. I got to see Lindsey Buckingham produce a record. You know, he's the guy from Fleetwood Mac, right?
Yeah,
you know,
of course.
I got to see Jimmy Page.
Where'd you run into that?
At Little Mountain Sound. So
So they all came out of...
yeah. So I moved to Vancouver in my 20s to go pursue, learning how to produce, and because I was quite the musician by then too. I was, I heard Zeppelin for the first time when I came to Canada.
How old were you? Sorry, so how old were you when you came?
I was 13, I think.
13, yeah.
Okay.
So right around there, I heard Zeppelin, and it changed my life. So for the next 7 years, I spent it in the basement, shredding Zeppelin on, not only on the guitar, but on the bass, on the keyboards, on the drums, trying to learn how they did it vocally, like researching how they recorded it, looking up, looking up all the effects, and, and really delving deep into it. And then I moved to Vancouver to study that.
When did you...
So let's just go back just a little bit, because were you always interested in music? Was it always an interest?
There was a grand piano in my living room, in the hallway. It was one of my first memories. I remember being just tall enough to reach it, going blink, 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 going, what the hell is that? And pressing those pedals, right? And I think it took off from there. So hey, parents, if you want to influence your children subtly, have a piano in the house, an acoustic one, not a digital one that you can turn off, but something.
And how old were you then?
I must have been 3, maybe 4.
Right.
And before that, not that you might have my recollection, but was there, did you sense any propensity? And the reason that I asked, because I was 6 months old before I could walk or talk, and I was pulling pots and pans out.
No,
just
I have no
innately.
recollection of that.
No.
No,
So around
that's
3 was
fun.
the time you kind of...
Yeah, I don't know. I heard a piano and...
I think it kind of took off from there. I didn't get a guitar until 15.
So after you moved to Canada?
Yeah. So once I moved to Canada,
Did you move to Calgary? Was that your first stop?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've lived here most of the time. I lived in Vancouver for 5 years.
Right.
But yeah,
When did you move to Vancouver?
in the 90s,
90s, yeah.
91, 92 or something like that. Yeah.
What was the compulsion there? What was the...
Well, I was going to a Trebas Recording Institute to learn production and recording, and it kind of turned out to be a bit of a joke. The classes were all taught by people who couldn't make it in recording studios or make it in the industry, and that was kind of their last resort. And some of them really hated it, and so the second year, I think, all the students got together and we all sued Trebas Institute.
Did you really?
Yeah, and we all got a bunch of recording time.
Oh, yeah?
for the end of the second year, right? Mm-hmm. So instead of a second year, we got to, take our favorite bands to all our favorite studios and record, and that's kind of how it started off. But before I could finish all that, I ended up...
So wait a minute, you sued the college? Or
the whole student body.
Right, and so you sued them for recording time, or
we
you sued them for to get your money back?
Second year is a fake.
We want our money back, and they said you couldn't have recording time.
Did you go to court for it, or
I forget how. I think we had a lawyer. I think it was settled out of court or some.
Are they still around? Probably.
I don't know. I haven't kept up with it, but yeah, that was a thing. But yeah, I ended up getting bands like the Whistle Punks, recording at Ocean Studios and stuff, and I had some really cool studio experience that way. But
so how did you land at Bob Rock's? What was that?
I kept
putting my resume at Little Mountain Sound, and after a while I'd go get them coffee. I'd just pop in every morning, and I'd have all their favorite coffees, right? And eventually my resume landed on top, and I got to go talk to the owner, and he, make a long story short, said, come down and meet your first client. You're gonna keep your mouth shut and do what you're told. And it was Jimmy Page. And, it was Jimmy Page and David Coverdale. So I got to spend a good 9 months with them. Kind of ended in an interesting kind of disaster with studio funds and other things going on, and then Little Mountain Sound got taken over by Greenhouse.
Okay.
And the whole whole situation went down there.
So what was your job description on that first?
So my
that
job
I'm interested
description
in.
was peon.
Gopher,
Right.
third assistant. I wasn't even good enough to be the first assistant or the second
Or the
one.
second, yeah.
Yeah, no, I was the guy who would sit in the corner and roll joints if necessary. I'd make, proper English tea. I would.
So you probably learned how to roll again.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, I'd go get stuff. I'd take amps for repair. And then the rest of the time I'd be upstairs studying the SSL manual.
Right.
And then just really taking note of every single thing that they were doing.
That had to be
And
valuable.
that was incredible. No, I used to go home at night and transcribe the things I'd seen and various methods that they'd use for, like the way Page would blend guitars. It's not something many people get to experience, right?
Well, firsthand.
Firsthand,
Oh,
and that's as good as it gets, right? The kind of work that goes into tone, the kind of work that goes into a creative guitar line that you think is just this one thing, but it's actually made of many, many different elements that go into it.
Now, was Bob Rock the engineer for that?
For that, who was engineering on that? I think it was Mike Fraser, actually.
Was Bob Rock involved in the process?
Bob Rock passed through with Metallica, and Bob Rock also got me and an engineer named Brian Dobbs to stay at his house for 4 weeks and record The Age of Electric, the first Age of Electric album. Yeah, and that was a treat. He had this beautiful ranch in White Rock,
Right.
and he had Chevy emblems all over the place cut out for windows.
Oh, yeah?
So you could see through his, and the basement was just like a house of wonders, it was an amazing console, an old Neill, I think. And
Man, that's
Yeah,
kind of experience as a guy wants out of life.
no, it was, it really was, right?
So,
Well, let's go back to Jimmy Page.
So there was also AC/DC too.
Was there really?
Yeah,
So you did some
no doubt. I got to work on Razor's Edge. I got to have some of my vocals on the beginning of Thunderstruck.
Thunderstruck?
Right, yeah.
That's you in there?
Yeah, we all did
No
that on
shit.
some plywood boards in the garage. It was
Right.
really cool. There was some really cool stuff in the Luhrman.
Right.
But make a long story short, I partied it up too much one night and I got fired.
Oh, no.
So I lost the Little Mountain job and I ended up working at Mother's Music in Vancouver, selling guitars to 12-year-olds. So that built some character. So eventually I thought, well, I'm
But
gonna.
wasn't everybody kind of partying back then?
My thing was
just got out
more
there.
special than others.
Right.
It was a mistake you make in your 20s, right?
Right.
And something you learn from, and from going to work with Jimmy Page to working at Mother's Music, trying to sell guitars to 12-year-olds.
What did that feel like?
Oh, well.
It felt like annihilation, right? Because
And in your 20s, the end of the world.
Because I was a contender.
Right. Dude, no, I was going to ask you, because, what the hell, to me, that sounds like you're almost set.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're almost set in stone.
Oh, totally.
And people just...
My buddies from there went to work on In Excess and, Tina Turner, and just amazing opportunities, right?
Right.
And I went the other way. So anyway, I decided I was going to become a session guitar player, and I was going to go to LA to go to GIT.
Okay. Yeah.
So I moved to Calgary just to save money for that. And then the first year, I forget the sequence, but I think it was the floods, the riots, the fires, and then the earthquakes.
Oh, yeah?
Each year that I was supposed to go to GIT.
Right.
And then I ended up working for the precursor to the Beach recording studios here in town.
Okay.
And
They had a predecessor, yeah?
yeah, it was called West 11th.
Okay.
West 11th Audio, and they did a lot of the commercial production around Calgary. So actually a lot of studios in Calgary sprouted from. So from the staff at that studio, they all branched off and set their own different recording studios up, and that kind of
Okay,
the
I
recording
didn't know
scene in Calgary. Yeah, it was a really interesting time.
And didn't the guy that moved into that made it the beach, didn't he come out of LA? Do I got that right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I thought.
Lanny Williamson, he worked on like the Apocalypse Now No, he's worked on some heavy hitting stuff. Like
Yeah.
Quincy Jones. And,
Yeah. Is he still there?
I think Lanny's still there, yeah.
Yeah.
The beach is still a really cool recording studio. I actually helped build it.
You
So
did?
that's how I kind of got the job at the beach too. Was I was working at West 11th, and I told Lanny, "Hey, let me help you build a studio, and you give me an album's worth of recording time."
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so that must have been 1998, 1997, something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And nowadays, I think they're doing one of those recording programs.
Yeah, they
Like
do. They run APRA.
Yeah,
Okay.
and Opera's a cool program, and the beach is an amazing studio. Like,
Yeah.
I helped build that brick by brick.
Did you really?
Yeah, no, I helped wire the console. I got to do Tragically Hip there. Daniel Lanois, Midnight Oil.
They all came through the beach.
Yeah, they all came through the beach. A lot of local artists too. A lot of early CMT stuff I was doing.
Okay.
I worked for CMT for a number of years.
You did?
Yeah, and I think we did some of their early stuff from there too. Right? And then, along the way, I ended up producing, helping produce maybe 50, 60 different 1-hour programs for CMT.
Really?
Yeah, so we'd all travel the country with a camera crew, and I'd set up some kind of funky recording studio in the washroom of a huge hall or a church, and we'd record. Like I think I ended up recording Jim Cuddy in Calgary here at Heritage Park.
Really?
Yeah, like weird, cool gigs like that. The Rankin family, a lot of the country artists.
What year would that have been?
Oh, jeez,
Like 95?
life is a bad memory.
Yeah.
But when CMT was based out of Calgary.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
I wasn't aware they were based on.
yeah, they were based out. So was MTV Canada for a while. Yeah, and I ended up working for them, and
Right.
I actually still talk to my friend has become a director. His name is Josh Wong, and he's a very successful director producer in Canada. But yeah, I did a bunch of shows with him for MTV, and that was Sam Roberts. I got to do Billy Talent. I got to spend a whole bunch of time, too much time with the Swollen members.
Oh, yeah.
Default, who else? Tegan and Sarah, which was just amazing. That was
Was
really
that,
cool.
yeah?
I don't know that much about them, but I know
Figure
it's
11.
pretty quality shit.
Yeah,
right?
Figure 11, which
I love that band. They're an amazing band. I got to record some stuff with them too. And 60, 70 different artists for different broadcasters.
And you did that all at the beach, or was that
No,
kind of spread over?
I've been fired from every studio in town because eventually I try to take over the music side,
Okay.
and then eventually that's just my calling, right? And
What do you mean by that? You try and take over? What do you
I'll end up doing some music with the clients and helping their producers and composers make the music,
Right.
and then slowly but surely there'll be more and more of me in there. And more guitars and more ideas, more vocals, and then slowly there's so I ended up a lot of clients would come to me directly and go, "Hey, Emre, why don't you write the music for this?" And once I'd start saying yes to that, the studio would see a conflict and go, "Dude."
Right.
But I can't help it. I love music. I'm a musician, I'm an engineer by necessity. I'm an engineer. Because I have to be, because I don't get to work with a lot of people who have those kinds of skills without paying mega dollars to. I think if you're a serious musician and you're into recording, it really helps to know what you're doing on that side.
Sure.
You need to have a knowledge of microphone placement, proper mics and preamps, everything that goes along with it, right? Let alone all the things that come with mixing and.
Sure.
Or just producing a work of art. That's like the best thing you will ever do. Ever,
Right.
right? There's a lot of pressure that comes with that.
Well, there is, but if you know what you're doing, it
helps, but it's still.
Like for instance, I'm working on a couple albums that I'm going to release this summer. But it's a black album and a white album. So the black album's, metal and dark, alternative, kind of, pretty grungy kind of songwriting. The same songs translate beautifully to an acoustic album. That's like bowed bass and cellos and acoustic guitars. And then I'm doing a third album. That's the actual genesis of the songs, which is just acoustic guitar and cello, right?
Okay.
So those 3 albums I'm working on, but the middle one, the acoustic one, I'm working on a song. And I put it down with my band. We've done it, maybe 100 times now, right? And this time it really felt like it, and I put it down really, really properly. Like, I think I used 18 tracks to record us, and had everything separated out. And
So let me ask you this, who's in your band?
there's Brett Beason. I don't know if you know of him. He's played in so many bands across time in the Calgary scene.
Is it a bass player?
Yeah, wicked bass player.
Yeah, he's like a 30-year-old guy, mid-30s. I played with him a couple times. Played with him a
He
couple
plays with.
What is her name? She's really cool and big in town. I'm trying to remember. Amy Heff,
Amy
of
Heff,
course.
okay.
Amy
Yeah,
Heff,
yeah.
duh, yeah. Brave for it. But yeah, no, he's an incredible bass player. He's also
He's an American guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
he's actually a Trump supporter.
Is he?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Well, we can't all be perfect.
No.
We can't all be perfect. You know?
And then my drummer is Connor Williams, and
Who's
he's an incredible player. He's played with. Do you remember Nicky Valentine band?
No.
Nicky Valentine, the Gypsies. I think he played with Kate Pig for a bit. He played with. But he's a very, very talented drummer.
Yeah.
These are the kind of guys that I can throw a C chord to, and it comes back in such a beautiful, convoluted, cool way, and then they give me a lot to work with, right?
Yeah.
So I can kind of take what they're doing and blend it into what I'm doing.
Do you have a guitar player in the mix, or you're doing
guitar,
that?
I'm doing guitar and vocals.
But I'm also running a looper. I'm playing acoustic guitars and synth. I'm also playing a double neck. For the heavy stuff, a lot of stuff is tuned down to a low C,
Right.
which goes really nice with the cello too. So I've got a Nashville style tuned double neck with a low C on the top and a normal guitar with some Gibson pickups.
Okay.
Through a Marshall. Yeah, it sounds amazing and heavy. It's kind of like I modeled that stuff after Ian Thornley. Having a really kind of very dense sound, but yet your clean stuff is more open and soaring, and
Right.
And I love stuff like the Tea Party.
Okay.
Anything Jeff Martin does is amazing, and
Yeah.
and it also goes good with my Turkish influences. So it's kind of like heavy Turkish rock. I'm Mother Earth, Nirvana.
Did you write this stuff?
Yeah, this is all original stuff, right?
Actually, so back when Lanny offered me that studio time, I ended up making a good record with a band called Eventide.
Okay.
And we put out an album, and we had some distribution. We had some good. I think we had 80 radio stations across Canada playing our stuff.
Wow.
We had a homemade music video on Much Music. Well, it wasn't homemade. It was actually done by Joel Stewart, who went on to do so many music videos across Canada. And it was amazing, cool video. But yeah, we had all that stuff going on. So I put out that album, made my investors' money back, and then I tried to do the second album, and I was like, I wrote 13, 14 songs, and I'm like, oh, these aren't good enough. I want to do something stronger. And then I'd write another 13, 14. I'm like, well, my style's completely changed now. I'm not even like that anymore. So I'm going to do So eventually I ended up with 600 songs that were unreleased.
600?
Yes.
Literally 600 songs. Holy shit.
And each of those songs would have,
just the bed track mixes with no vocals. Or they just have acoustic guitar track mixes, or just be drum and bass grooves. And then I grew a publishing company. So I figured out I could lend this stuff to film tracks, to soundtracks, to different product endorsements, to different. So I ended up, selling that stuff for, over the course of 20 years, you'd sell a song for $600.
Mm-hmm.
You'd sell a 30-second piece for $100. You'd sell something for $1,200.
Right.
You'd combine 3 different pieces together to make a 10-minute, oil and gas documentary and sell it for $1,200. And it just evolved and evolved over years and years, right? So
Did you start your own publishing company?
Yeah,
Is that what you did?
that's what EM Records is.
this is my publishing company. So over the years, I've probably sold about, when you add it up over 20 years, it's about $1 million worth of music.
Oh, shit.
Right?
Wow.
I still sell a lot of cuts.
Yeah.
Maybe not as much as back then, but I'm still maybe selling 20 pieces of music a year.
Right. Right.
And none of these are big, huge publishing deals. They're like, one-time user fees for $600. I own the music, right?
Right.
See, this is stuff I did not know about
Yeah.
you. I just, like I said, I thought, the guy's born in Calgary, and
So all
and
this stuff
wears
all-
cowboy boots, and that's,
So
and you
all
don't
this
even
stuff
wear
all-
cowboy boots, do you?
I don't.
I wear army boots.
Right.
These boots were given to me. I have a thing with boots, too.
Right.
So I collect a lot of clothes for the homeless.
Did you? Yeah, I know you do. That's another thing that you
yeah.
do that I've seen, like on Facebook and stuff. You've been on there a
So for the
lot.
last 4 or 5 years, I've been doing that.
Yeah.
And it started because I was in such a bad place. My problems were consuming me. I was basically having a really hard time with life. And the only way that I could get out of my head was to help other people, right? And it became kind of a necessity, and it became kind of a thing. And if I needed to escape, I could always run to the DI or to 17th Ave and help someone and make them feel good. And if I started to think about stuff, I could go help, another person. And that's kind of what got the ball rolling. And then eventually people started giving me clothes. And now it's year 5 since that's happened. And then unfortunately, I'm a lot busier, and I'm a lot happier, and I'm a lot less bitter. And I don't.
But you still got the initiative.
Yeah, I still got the initiative, but I think this year, I'm like, okay, guys, don't stop giving me all your clothes, please. Like,
Personally, I think it's a hell of a thing to do.
It is a thing. It is
Yeah.
a thing. But I really don't know if I'm going to do it next year because
it becomes a thing. People just come throw suitcases at the different bars that you play at and go, these are for Emery. And then I'll
And
go
you're
through
like, stop. Yeah.
Even the people that don't have clothes are going, I think we got enough. We got enough. No, but I'll tell you what. I think that's.
But yeah, it was.
You're hitting on something there when you say that
It
when you
filled
were
the place
going
of
through
pain.
what you were going through,
Man, I know.
the best thing was not how am I going to feed me and my flesh and my
No,
desires.
it's like I know this guy behind a garbage can on 42nd Street, fucking northeast, and
I know that he's been there for 3 hours, and I'm fucking nice and warm, and I'm thinking about my problems, but I got some gas in a blanket, like, why didn't I, I'll stop thinking about my shit, right?
And that helped you to get out of your shit.
yeah, that really, really did, So,
Yeah, I think I've done my bit, and then, I think next year, maybe I won't do that, but,
Right.
you never know. People just come throw clothes at me when I'm playing on stage, it's great.
Really?
Yeah, well, I started to notice it, I don't know, maybe a year ago, I noticed that you were doing that thing, and I thought it was a hell of an idea.
oh, thank you.
Yeah, I
I haven't had a trunk in 5 years.
You what?
I haven't had a trunk of my car in 5 years.
Oh, really?
All my gear has to go in the back seat because my trunk's full of.
Boots and jackets,
Right.
right? And it comes up still,
Yeah.
But this year maybe I helped 15 people,
Yeah.
10, 15 people, but, the year before maybe 60, 70, the year before maybe 100.
Right.
I think the first year I helped out 200, 250 people. Yeah, it was a lot of jackets and cool stuff, and, got me out of my rut, so.
Yeah.
Right.
And so people, I guess, these guys kind of know you for that now too, right?
Yeah,
You kind of start getting a name for that.
No,
kind of
yeah,
stuff.
they just call me Top Hat.
Right.
Well, I'll commend you on that, man. I
thanks,
don't know
man.
if anybody else does. I hope so because it's a hell of a thing. And not only that, but it's great to know that somebody, because we all struggle.
Yeah, I hear you.
we all
Yeah.
go through
And I was
our
there
shit.
once too. I remember having no keys to anywhere.
That's a thing.
Right.
I've gone through points in life where I had no keys to anywhere, and It's a really poignant reminder.
And to empathize.
To have somebody, to number one, I think to understand what that feels like is one of the greatest ways to be able to empathize. You know, I think that's true empathy. When you know, fuck, I was there 2 years ago or whatever it was, and I know what that feels like. It feels like shit. And then to give that away.
I learned that in my childhood. I learned that in my childhood.
Right.
Right, so.
That it doesn't feel good to hurt.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah.
It's a thing. So are you going to edit this and cut this and stuff?
No.
It's just a straight run through?
No,
oh my God. All right. Giddy up.
When people get what they get.
Baby.
I'll tell you what, part of the reason that I'm doing this.
For me is kind of the same reason that you were doing what you were doing. And, you know, I sat around, I mean, I moved to Calgary in 79. And then, you know, around 92, I moved to the States. I moved to Baton Rouge, and I did a lot of records there. Yeah, played drums. I taught Jimmy Swaggart's drummer, if you remember who Jimmy Swaggart is. And I taught his drummer, and then I did records and everything else. And when I came back here in 95, I felt a thing that I hadn't felt before in different places, in different geographical locations. And I felt this very closed sense of community. That people here were a little nervous and a little, you know, that to say clicky is
interesting music scene.
It's very unique in the world. I don't think it exists anywhere else.
well. You know, I'll tell you what. I mean, yeah, I don't know if it does, and I don't know. I mean, what is that? What do you mean by that? I'm interested to know what you mean.
Well, in that,
You know, people say, oh, if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. It's like, bullshit, man. Like, I played on Wall Street, and I was just playing U2 songs, and people would just walk by shocked, going, holy fuck, great, here's fucking $5, $10, 20. You make $100 an hour. You know, people, if there's a gig, people just show up out of different neighborhoods, like looking to come to see an original band play or looking to hear something different. Like, people are very passionate about music.
Are you talking about New York?
Anywhere else,
Anywhere
right?
else, okay.
The Red Deer,
Right.
Edmonton. You know, I think Edmonton probably has a more passionate music scene than we do. Here, music is an afterthought. Here, music is disposable. Here, music is just like, yeah, better be good. You know, you better play what we want to hear. You know, here, music is just something that not many people give two shits about. You know, it's a thing. It's a really hard place to, let alone originals, to play covers in or to make a living doing music with, right? So I think you have to try really hard to inspire people for them to come out and for them to like music, and and you have to build a community. You have to build a community of people who enjoy what you're doing, and sometimes that you can do with that. That's what I'm trying to do with the jams too. Is built a community of different musicians who come out, and we all support each other, and it's a really good time with some very talented players making original music, and the covers are just a seed to kind of get that going. But the kind of versions we do of covers, I don't think you've ever heard. But back to the point of Calgary being a tough city, it just comes from community and culture too. We're only 125 years old,
Right. But so is Edmonton.
Yeah, so is Edmonton.
Yeah.
But I think it has to do with
I have a theory about that.
Yeah, so do I. I think that Edmonton makes less money.
That's exactly my theory. My theory is that Edmonton is blue collar and Calgary is white collar.
Yeah, so
in
that does make a
Edmonton,
difference.
people don't have the money to go outside of the city, so they invest in it.
Yeah.
In Calgary, people make their money here and then they go somewhere else because they're
branch
only
out.
here to make money.
Yeah, that's
right?
the
So
thing,
they don't
right?
want to go out. They don't want to do those things. They don't want to support. And yet, what's funny is that
It's transitory.
very transitory. And yet, the juxtaposition of that, the duality of that, is that Calgary, in terms of, what do you call it? In terms of people giving of their free time, happens more in Calgary than it does in other places.
Yeah.
So there's those initiatives.
Interesting.
Yet, it is very interesting. That's the juxtaposition, right? But when I've been to Edmonton, I mean, I don't really want to move to Edmonton. I'll say that right now.
Yeah.
But that being said, anytime I've played in Edmonton, or anytime I've gone up there, I've heard a quality of player that is somewhat astounding and that I pulled things from. And that's not to say I haven't pulled things from guys here. Angers was my first interview, and the reason that is because he inspired the hell out of me.
Amazing musicians in here at Calgary, just as good as Edmonton.
The only difference is that in Edmonton, you get supported more and people actually seek out bands. People actually go, hey, let's go check out so-and-so set tonight. This way,
That's it, there's more community.
there's more community, right? And I don't know what they've done that's so different than what we're doing.
I think the blue collar aspect has a lot to do with it.
It does, because people...
do want to go to the bar and see a live band.
Once again,
that makes a big difference, right?
Hurting and going through trials and tribulations builds character. And when you build character, you build community because you start to have more empathy. So you want to connect to people. If you have it too good, then you don't have to connect with your brother or your sister or anything else. And and even I noticed. I hope he doesn't mind me saying, but Brian Simbalek, I've noticed him posting some things about the way the government's going these days, and I think that the entire planet is in for a shit kicking. I think that there's
it is. I mean, the apocalypse is coming.
Something
no
is.
doubt.
I mean, when you say apocalypse, because I grew up in the church and I just can't go there, but you're right about something.
Call it what you will, but we're all here for such a limited time.
Yeah.
We're all, here for one shot, right? And, and you got to make the best of it, and you can't wrap yourself up in the world's problems too much because shit's pretty depressing out there, man. There's some pretty major changes going on, and there's, we're on the cusp of I believe, an extinction event. But
well, if it comes down to that fight, we lose every time. Absolutely.
The earth will go on, right?
No, absolutely. I think in terms of government and things like that, I just think that we've gotten so big. There are so many people. I mean, I was talking to somebody about this today, and I was saying that I think that a lot of the problem is the fact that we have no proximity to power anymore, and there is no accountability where power is concerned. So what I mean is that let's say, and there's too many people. So here's
wait. That's an interesting point you made
about having proximity to power. I think that's just one of the things of 20 things that we have no proximity to anymore. We have no proximity to our food. We have no proximity to our nature. We have no proximity to even our own spirituals or the way that we should live our life. We're taught that we should go work for the man and do what he says and take home a meager pay and have a subsistence and get work 2 jobs just to do what? It's like we have no proximity to. We are so
to many things.
To many things, but we have freedom.
Oh, we absolutely do. At least here.
Which is a bargain.
Which is a fair bargain. We've lost ourselves. We don't know how good we got it. Yet we are lucky enough and we have the luxury to do that. And, when you have food, when you have shelter, when you have all the basics, then you can concentrate on some art. Maybe then you can concentrate on some fulfillment. Maybe then you can concentrate. The higher up the food chain you go, you start. Only then, once we have all these things, can we contemplate, do we have it good? Do we not have it good? Do we, But, I swear, 80% of the world is just trying so hard just to frickin' get by,
Right.
Right?
While we sit here and talk.
Sure, but while the powers that surround those people are taking everything from them. Anyway, you know what I mean? Anything that they could have, anything good, any sort of sustenance that could be shared, it's given to...
We're all monkeys with sticks.
On a tree.
Well, we don't. So
Beat
that's
each
what I'm
other's
talking
area
about.
out, right?
Let me explain just for a minute what I mean by proximity to power, because to me that includes the proximities to everything else that you've explained. So what I mean is that because there are so many people living now, we have 36 million people in thousands of square miles of countryside, right?
Yeah.
And
Wait, you think that's so many people?
well, no. I know that the States has 365 million, and I know that the UK can fit inside Alberta, and it has 65 million. So no, I'm not saying it's a lot, but it's still a lot.
120. I think.
Istanbul has 20 million people living in it.
20 million.
Yeah, that's just yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
I don't
the size of 4 Calgarys.
Relatively speaking,
We don't have a lot of people, but 36 million people is a lot of people.
Yeah.
No matter how you cut it. I mean, I know we're spread apart. That's part of our problem. So when I say proximity to power, I guess what I'm saying is that if we go back far enough, there is a rule, and I've got to look up this rule because on the last couple of shows I've alluded to this, and I gotta find out the name of this rule. I've forgotten it, and I don't want to forget it anymore. But anyway, there's a rule that says that we really can't be known or know more than 150 people, and that comes from
I've
our
heard of that.
right. You've heard of that, right? So here's my point: if that is the case, if we go back far enough, you and I were part of a tribe. Right? A community of probably no more than 150. Maybe it's spread a little bit on one side or the other, but it was somewhere around there, right? And the reason is because that's manageable, right? That's manageable
So
for
the question
everyone.
I ask you is,
Is social media a symptom of our loss of community, or is social media a cause of our loss of community and proximity to power?
Say that one more time because I want to be able to answer it.
Social media has definitely made us more this way or amplified us this way. So is social media a cause because of our lack of proximity to power, or is social media a symptom? Because now it doesn't work that way. Now I have 3,000 friends on my Facebook, and I don't freaking know.
No, that's the problem with Facebook. is the
Yeah,
fact
I know
that-
my 150 people,
Right.
but we're all too busy to see each other.
To me,
So is that
Facebook is a smokescreen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's a symptom.
It's a
not
symptom.
cause.
It's absolutely a
It's not
symptom.
cause.
No, I
It's a
agree with
symptom of our
that.
digital age.
Right, and it's a
And our-
symptom of
our
us as
networking.
people
Yeah.
that once again know what we need, but don't necessarily go out of our ways to get it. We'd rather have somebody else tell us. That's one of the things that I
Yeah,
appreciate
no.
you. Let me say that. That's one of the things I appreciate about you. Just in the little bit that we've been talking here, I know, and I think we talked a little bit off camera, I think it was on camera when you said that I'm taking shit and I'm making it my own. I'm creating it. Every time I get on a stage, fuck you if you want Mustang Sally the way they did it. I'm not going to do it that way.
I mean,
If I
half,
do it,
half. You're hiring me.
So hey, I'll give you a little bit of leeway, but let me make some music too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right, and there has to be that.
Yeah, it should be a conversation.
That
It's
yin
not
and
a-
yang. It has to be.
It's not a strict social contract that I have to
Right.
adhere to.
Right.
Right.
yeah, and the entertainment element is there, and the value is there, and certainly the musicianship is there where you're concerned.
And I'd rather.
It comes from what I would like to see too. Like I would like to see musicians and artists and bands go up there and give it their all, and I like seeing them on the edge of failure, on the edge of crashing, on the edge of rising, and I think that's where a lot of magic happens. If there's not enough music that lets go. You know what I mean?
No, there isn't.
And there's a lot of structure,
once again,
and actually a lot of musicians look down on me and go, "Oh, he's winging it." Damn right, I'm winging it.
Absolutely.
It took
You're coming close to the point of
It took
failure.
me 20 years.
to learn how to wing it properly. It's an improvisation. It's a paragraph and a thought that we've all had before.
Dude,
but I like to express it my way.
Yeah, you're preaching
of course.
You're preaching the converted because
That's what original music does for me too. Like I think Edmonton has a better scene because they have more of that. Here, I don't know if it's because we're not allowed to have it or
no, it's because we want to. It's because we want to use music to service other things.
Yeah,
we
we
want
wanna
music
use
to pander.
I sell beer.
Right. That's what people say. We're not a band. We're just there to sell beer, man.
Yeah.
I just want a gig. And I'm like, no, you're not. And the moment you start thinking that way is the moment you get what's happening around here.
But I sell beer my way. I live in an environment where I have to sell beer.
Right.
But I'm going to sell it.
But somehow you still hold on to your integrity,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. No,
And you do it.
Yeah.
And you still do it. That's my problem. I had a fusion project a couple years ago. A couple guys in town, Jason Graham and Stefano Waldo.
Yeah.
And we did a record. And this shit was like you're saying. It was as close to the failure point as you can get without quite stepping over and fucking up a record.
Yeah, take your chances.
Oh, it was for me, it was such a great snapshot moment in the history of my playing. And when I get on stage, I need to be up at that level. I need to be playing where I'm not quite failing, but I could.
Yeah.
You know, like we could push it so far that but
And fusion lends itself to that.
absolutely, as does, I'll tell you what, pop, because it's what you're talking about. It's not about the song. It's about your interpretation of that.
It's
And you can take,
framing of it.
and you can take that and move it to the edge.
Yeah.
You know,
You should
you can
hear some of
push
my
it.
Cello versions of Soundgarden.
I'd love to.
Same concept, right? You know,
Yeah.
same thing.
But that's what I'm talking about. And I guess, like you said, you know, in Edmonton, they seem to gravitate or to just understand this very simple element of musical creation and production, which
just
is
more original
push.
music.
Yeah, and push.
Yeah,
push
push the boundaries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, I don't know. To me, that's the only reason that I want to play music. So I'm not gigging much anymore. I practice 4 hours a day in my room, and I go through, you know, I'm working on like pretty tough shit at the moment, like
cool.
clave and going through, you know, a ton of things. And, I've also got my video series. And what I'm trying to do with all that, and even with this, is I'm trying to expose us, you know, this geographical location in particular, to the fact that it's okay to push, it's okay to be good and to be really good, it's okay to be great, it's okay to fail, but we've gotta have integrity. It's not about selling beer, just about selling.
You can have integrity and still sell beer.
No, like you said.
You sell beer, but you get enough of you in there that's something. Right.
Do it your way.
Right.
Because, you know, in this town, we don't have the other opportunities. Like, you know, there's places in the States where you can play originals. You know, you can go on a tour and make money, you know, selling a CD. In Canada, geographically, we're just not set up to do that, you know. It costs so much money to go across Canada and promote your music. You got to do it locally. Right. You know, so.
And our markets aren't tight either.
Yeah.
Like our markets are separated.
It's an entirely different market.
Yeah.
So, So
and so that's kind of, you know, I just want to come
what you
back.
got.
Sure, I want to come back to just my point about the 150.
Yeah.
So here's the thing: we got 150 people. You and I are hanging out around this water hole. You know, and we're wearing loincloths and all that shit, right? And so let's say that you're the chief, all right? And I have a problem. And not just me, but, you know, a few of the members of this tribe have a problem with what's going on. Now, maybe we have to go to some representative to get to you. But, so we tell this guy what's going on and that we're not pleased with this difficulty, right? And so this guy goes to you. However, you're only on the other side of the watering hole. You know what I mean? I can see you, I can smell you, I know what you look like, and I'm right there.
It's a local thing,
Right, and so
for sure we've lost that.
That's what I mean.
But yet we've kind of retained that to a certain way, I think as best as you can with 9 billion people, right? You know, I mean, we still have our 150. For instance, Facebook was out and Instagram was out a few weeks ago. I had to promote my music. I was going, oh my God, what am I going to do? It's like, there's no way I can reach my group of 150 people with it. Am I going to have to, like, call people? Right? But, you know, if we get hit with an EMP strike and, you know, the internet goes down, we'll be back to our core 150 people pretty darn fast.
But that's what I'm talking about, is the fact
that we're not there right now. And for me, there is no greater antisocial platform than Facebook.
Yeah, that's true.
And although, you know, this is going to air on Facebook.
But would you,
I'm petitioning. In a sense, I'm
ironic.
It is ironic, isn't it?
But wait, I beg to differ. I think you do have your 150 people. Let's say civilization burnt out tomorrow and there was no longer Safeway, and you had to go hang out in a village and, you know, protect your borders from the zombies. Would you not have your 150 people in that village?
I would then.
You know,
what I'm saying is at the moment
moment
we're all walking around
not giving a shit about it. And what I'm saying is that it's never lost its importance. It's as important now as when the fucking zombies come.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean?
No,
and
it's just less in our face. You know?
and why is that? Because of adversity. because we're not suffering.
Yeah.
We're not hurting.
Yeah.
But I think that what is
It's a
going
luxury.
on, what is going on and what's happening these days is that things are getting so extreme
Yeah.
that it just feels to me. And I'm not trying to be,
No, I think that's the reality.
pessimistic.
That's the reality of our planet,
Right.
We're going through, the amount of change that we've done in the last 150 years versus, if Earth was a 24-hour clock, we were born on hour 23 minutes and 45. The Industrial Revolution was 10 seconds ago.
Exactly.
Right? But there's all that.
Well, no,
eons of
I
time,
think,
right?
who was it? Neil deGrasse Tyson. Is this where you're getting it from? Because Neil
Maybe,
deGrasse Tyson
yeah.
said this,
Yeah.
and he said that
We have shown up on the last second of the last day. Our civilization. But he's talking, in terms of the universe.
But the amount of
Right?
change we've done in that time is.
Incredible,
in 150
right?
years, it's
But I choose to remain optimistic. I choose to remain that we actually all still have that spiritual connection, that we're all still connected, and that we still know our 150 and we still have community. But we're so blind to it right now just because of, the information overflow of just living in a city like this.
And I think the other problem is that
If you're out in nature,
we're busy.
Allowing other people telling us what is good, what is bad, what we should do, what we should.
It's an information overflow. It's just information.
to the max, right?
Right.
We're constantly getting bombarded
And I think
with
it's
so
a
many
little
inputs.
more than that. I think it might be manipulation.
You think we're not clever?
I think that we are that clever. Absolutely. Think about it. Think about music.
Think about when Muzak came in the 30s, right?
Yeah.
Why was Muzak created?
Yeah.
It was created to manipulate people in order to keep them in establishments where they could spend money.
I think we're clever up to a point.
But I don't believe we're clever enough to do certain things, like, for instance, chemtrails. I don't think we're clever enough to have a thing where 50,000 people have to be in on it. They all have to be coordinated, and no secret can get out, and the government's doing it. The government can't even do healthcare properly, man. Like, the government's spending 10 times the amount just to, feed people and whatnot. Same with, faking the moon landing. 500,000 people would have to be in on that, going, okay, we're all,
And they'd all have to show
those
up.
kinds of conspiracy theories don't get me.
Right.
Just because I don't think we're that clever. I think there's a certain group of individuals on Earth who are clever enough to pull that shit. And that goes to the very rich and all the Illuminati stuff. And some of that stuff is maybe kind of plausible. And, well, I can certainly see manipulation in the oil markets and in oil, right? There's so much of that going on that we are maybe not savvy to, and maybe we don't realize it's going on, but it's definitely going on. Like,
Absolutely.
the revolution versus electric versus, the whole, we have a system set up on oil, and we live in Alberta, Calgary, Canada.
Right.
So,
Right.
so yeah, we're not privy to a lot. Yeah,
No,
we have the luxury to be dumb.
Absolutely.
So,
Well, let me clarify though, because I'm not talking about conspiracy theory. What I'm
Yeah.
talking about is just the fact that we've allowed a course to happen that has just continued to make its way, that has just continued to spread out. You know what I mean? No one has checked it, so it's just grown. It's just an animal that has been fed too much and gotten too big. I'm not talking about any conspiracy or that one person.
It's the age of information.
Absolutely, yeah. No, we're getting smarter.
Yeah.
I think.
I think.
ignorance is a choice. Right? Any subject you want. There's so much information on it now. From changing your carburetor to nuclear physics to anything
Right.
available to anyone. And it's like the rabbit's hole. Once you go,
Is 10,000 hours of sitting, learning that thing.
Yeah.
It's not doing it, although that's part of another 10,000 hours,
Yeah,
right?
totally,
You in terms of a triumvirate of mastery, right?
Yeah.
Which is
Many
performance,
different levels
practice,
to it, right?
and
Yeah.
and study.
Yeah. So
right?
I think you can't do too much about the bigger picture of things, but you can pick what you're going to spend your time on to make a difference, while you're here, right?
Yeah.
And learn to be happy.
Well, you've definitely been doing that.
I mean, you've been spending, obviously, a lot of your time on the things that matter most to you.
No, I've distilled my life down to that now, I think.
Right.
No, I've distilled my life down to that now, I think.
Right. And I suppose on an individual level, that's really been good for you.
Oh, it's great. I don't do anything that doesn't please me. No, it's been a luxury. I get to, I've basically given myself a record deal and said, hey, you're going to work on music, and that's all you're going to do. Do it,
Right.
Right. I mean, I want to help people and, do all the things that, make you feel like a good human being too, but.
Sure. But for yourself, to
for
find that
myself,
satisfaction.
happiness is working on music,
Yeah.
I've struggled all my life to reach this place where I could just do music, right? So, yeah.
Well, you're fortunate because I know what the scene is like right now.
Yeah,
And I know it's tough, but you've obviously cut out a certain path and a certain niche for you that seems to be working.
Yeah, no, it is, and it's given me creative freedom to come up with something, exceptional, right? So, for the last year, I've been recording almost I record every Tuesday and every Sunday with my band.
Okay.
So we've put down so many songs, and we put down, so many different tracks. We've come up with a couple albums worth of material that's just, stuff I haven't really heard too much before. And,
Right. When do we get a chance to do
that? We're doing a show with John Corabi on June 22nd. He's the singer from Motley Crue who replaced Neill.
Okay.
So we're doing a show with him, an acoustic show with him in Vertigo.
Really?
And we're going to use that as our CD release, and we'll be able to provide you with 2 CDs. So
Nice.
a black album and a white album.
And when is that?
That's June 22nd.
June 22nd.
That's in Langley at the Firehouse.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be a good time. Unfortunately, tickets are sold out already.
Are they really?
Yes.
Wow.
So, we got our tribe.
Hey, no, that's a good
We got our tribe of 400 in there, and those
400.
guys will have some CDs, right?
That's cool.
So, and the CD's going to be very simple. It's basically, this is my trademark, right? The top hat. Oh, I don't have my goggles. Usually I got some goggles.
Okay.
And a beard, and, and a double neck, right? So the album's very simple. It's just a Mexican death head wearing a top hat and goggles and a beard.
Okay.
It just says Days Without Names, and it's black with a white skull, right?
Okay.
And then the other album is white.
Black
It's just the inverse.
Yeah. So they're the exact same songs.
The exact same sequence, but done very differently. One takes a much more Middle Eastern, orchestral, cello, Jimmy Page kind of guitar route, while the other one takes more Ian Thornley, but heavy, down-tuned, grungy kind of romp through the same songs. And then I'm also going to release an album just of acoustic guitar and cello of how the songs came about.
Right.
Yeah, so be an interesting way to release 9 songs.
Personally, I want to hear it.
Yeah.
I want to hear
And I've
it.
been shooting videos too, and
Each song will have its own video as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Each song?
Yeah, each song. So,
Wow.
so I've got a lot of videos going, and
yeah.
Well, you are industrious, my friend, and not only that, but 400 people to be sold out this early.
well, I think that's John Corabi more than myself, or
Right.
but hey, it seems like a good place to do our release, and then
Absolutely. And
from
look
that
what
point on-
happens. 400 people from here get to hear you.
Yeah. And then from that point on,
everywhere I play, people will be able to buy some of the art, right?
Okay.
So that was this winter's work. So during the summer, I'm going to release it. I'm going to work hard to get it out to as many people as I can. I'm going to game the hell out of YouTube. I'm actually going to buy votes and listens and plays.
Are you?
Because people take your shit way more seriously if it's got 1 million views
Right.
rather than if it's got 463.
Yeah.
And that's just the reality of, the internet
That's the
world
game,
and being
right?
you have to game that shit, right? So I have to make enough of it, off of it, creatively and financially and spiritually, so that I can do it again next winter.
Right.
And hopefully I'm setting up a loop where I don't really have to go on tour. I would love to go on tour if given the opportunity, if it does bigger things and it's worth it. But I'd like to create my own machine for making music every winter in Calgary, spending every summer promoting it and playing it. And not even tour. Just, hey, I live in Calgary, this is my local market. You know,
Right.
if there was no electricity.
Don't you think Europe would dig the shit out of this stuff?
Oh, yeah, I would love to do that.
yeah.
But I'm not going to get that opportunity until I prove in my own local market what I'm capable of. Only then you get those opportunities, right?
Well,
Because it's the new music business too. The record deal doesn't exist anymore.
no, it doesn't.
The hope of
We're
getting a
doing it
deal,
on our-
it's a pipe dream. It's like, come on, buy a lottery ticket instead. Your odds are way better.
Well,
I hope that this gets supported, man. I hope that people come
Well, I
out.
think you have to build your own community.
and build your support. I think that's the key. I don't think none of us are entitled to anything. I think we have to win one
You gotta
fan.
work for it.
We have to win one fan at a time, right? Every night I play,
Right.
I make sure I'm winning 3-4 new fans.
Yeah.
And I know that they like my music enough to connect with me when I have something to offer them that's worthwhile.
Well, not only that, but I hope that people start seeing the value in creating music and not just music
I
that
know.
sells beer.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that there's anything
I
wrong
know.
with somebody drinking a beer.
We're in a city of covered music, but we
Want to get known as original artists,
I think we
we
should.
better put out.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right? Well, we have to.
Yeah,
I mean,
no
that's the
doubt.
only way to do it.
So,
And I think that we've been able to make, whatever pittance that we make off the backs of other people's music.
Yeah.
But I think that what you're doing to me is what this town should be about because other markets are. And that's how you keep culture, civic or greater, alive, right? Is by people in that place
investing in it.
investing in it and creating their own thing, and people going, I dig that. Or you know what? I don't dig that. That's okay. You got to live and die.
At least it's an
right?
opinion.
Yeah,
better
but at
to
least
have
they're
an opinion.
listening.
Yeah, no.
All right?
well, better to cause a reaction, an emotional reaction that begs for an opinion, to the point where you have to actually make it know that, hey, you know what I think about that? It's like, hey, that's great. That made you think? Awesome. That's what music should do, right?
Absolutely.
No doubt. Because we're all living the same story.
Well, and
We're
what
all-
kind of music,
We're all meat puppets driven by a meat computer,
right.
so we can all definitely relate to the same thing.
Yeah.
And if you think about,
This
so
connection.
much of the stuff that's been out there, Frank Zappa, and I mean, all the creative music
music
that's
is-
happened.
Music is such an amazing connection. It's the one thing that you can't describe. It's the one thing that's, that's fleeting, that doesn't really exist anywhere. But, in the mind, it's not a three-dimensional thing, but yet it affects so much of our life, and it affects so much of our mood and what we think, and how happy we are and how we dance like fools.
Right.
Music is the only thing that does that, and I think it's underrated.
I think it is.
Because once again, you and I grew up around the same time, and music was the soundtrack to our life. And I quit teaching a while ago, and part of the reason I did that was because my students would come in, these kids, right, 8, 9 years old. And I was never able to teach what I really wanted to teach. If you check out my YouTube stuff, you'll see what I mean. And my students would come in, and I'd say, so, it might be a new student. I'd say, what kind of music do you listen to? He'd go, I don't listen to music. You don't listen to music? Are you nuts? What are you doing here? And he said, well, I don't know. My mom wants me to get into something, and she wants a half an hour break. I'd be like, dude, you are in the wrong class, man. I mean, let's get you a shovel and you can go dig a good ditch. And not that there's anything wrong with ditch digging, but drums ain't your thing. You don't even listen to music? There is no soundtrack going on for you? That's a shame. you know?
How old was?
Oh, I'm talking about more than one kid.
Yeah.
And I'm talking, anywhere from, like 8 to 12, 13, 14. I'd say, what kind of music? And they might be able to give me one band, if they gave me a band.
But,
To be honest, that says a lot more about the parents than it does about the kids. It just does. And, we're bringing up our kids in a generation of single dads and single moms, and it is what it is. It's 2019. Call it what you will. It's part of this association, but maybe that's just the way humanity goes. Maybe
I think it's the
maybe we're
dissolution
gonna
of
have,
so many of those things.
maybe in 100 years we'll all be having babies out of bottles. Right?
Maybe, but I'll tell you what.
I hope not.
No, but you're alluding to the family union. You're
there's
saying
been
that the family unit has been fractured.
Yeah, it's been fractured, but
I gotta say the single parents have done the best they can, and they've kept it up, and they've grown families that are more successful than the two-parent families that were never united to begin with, right? So I mean, give it to single parents for bringing up the next generation, right?
Oh, I definitely give them credit because they did what they had to do. I just don't think it's the ideal.
Yeah.
I just don't.
It's not, but how many generations would it take after the apocalypse? Back to the apocalypse. How many generations would it take for all of that to rebound itself? Within one generation of no internet, no safe way, hunt for your own food, grow your own food, kill what you eat.
Well, it wouldn't be a generation, would it? It'd be immediate.
Yeah,
it'd be immediate.
No,
we'd go right back.
That's a
family unit that depends on each other for survival.
Right. And not only that, but each other.
Yeah.
Now we'd be, you know what I mean? If you survived, if you didn't get beaten or eaten by one of these things, and you and I are cool, then you and I are going to work together. Because we have to.
Yeah. Right? But the point of all of that is that we have the luxury to be comfortable enough to be naive, to go, we can drift away from that stuff, but if push ever comes to shove, I think all that stuff will be back like, no
But
doubt.
that's my point. That's my point, is that
I think that we're not at the place yet where we have to, where it's imperative. But I think for the last 30 years, I've seen anyway in my life, I know it's been going on longer than that, but for me in the last 30 years, I've been kind of preaching about this. I've been saying, like, don't you guys see? Nobody gives a shit about music. Things are changing. New wave. As maybe we can look back on it now and go, it was okay. But I'll tell you what, when New Wave came out after punk, I was like, this is the end of the fucking world, man.
But again, I love the rebellion in that.
In New Wave? Punk I do.
Well, no, in anything that makes us go, oh God, this is the end of the world. It means whoever is making that shit is like, hey, I got something, I'll push your buttons. And that's art. That to me is art.
Right.
I will hate the next generation of music, I'm sure. But that'll mean it'll be good. That'll mean it'll be different. And that'll mean it's pushing my buttons. That'll mean it's, even in the last 10 years, a lot of the stuff that my daughters played me that I hated, that she'd do just to push my buttons, it was an act of rebellion. It was an act of, hey, look how different this shit is than your guitar rock. Right. And some of those have become classics now, right? And music should always piss off the last generation.
I think it should. Here's what's funny though.
That was what's so cool about punk. That was what's so cool about grunge. That was so, every generation, right?
Sure, but here's the thing: is that
what I've noticed, because my kids are 32 and 28, right? And so, but I have noticed a trend in the last generation that they are seeking out our music.
Yeah, they are.
And that's never happened. Did you? Yeah.
Circle,
I mean, I'm not saying that I didn't listen to a Bing Crosby record growing up, but I wasn't seeking out my parents' music. Kids now are seeking out.
Oh, they're rebelling against the rebellion.
The rebellion is of, we're gonna make smooth flavored computer music with such a catchy melody and shove it down your throat. And we're gonna take all life out of it. And those kids are rebelling against that, going, hey, listen to this Creedus record, like, it's really cool, right?
Right.
Yet, out of all of that, you know, all this modern machinery making modern music can still be open-hearted,
Right.
right?
It's just a question of your honesty.
Yeah, your honesty. All right, man.
That's it.
I'm done.
You're done?
I'm done.
Well, let's wrap it up.
I gotta go blow my nose.
You go blow your nose.
I have a very bad cold.
Just before you do that,
I've been playing 5 nights straight.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
no.
I know you only have a limited amount of time, so
All good.
before you go, I just want to thank you
Oh, thank you.
for showing up. I want to thank you for being a part of this because
Hell yeah, man.
I want people to know
This is
who
a
you
cool
are.
thing.
I think it's a great thing, and I want it to
is.
catch on for our sake.
Yeah.
You know, I really do.
No doubt.
And so, anyway, I want to thank you for coming on. I want you to come back again.
Okay.
After you do your CD release, God damn it, we're coming back.
Yeah, I'll come play live for you.
All right. Well,
Just some
yeah.
guitar and cello.
Yeah, I mean, you come in and we'll lay down a track.
And I just want to talk to you again. I want to see what's going on in your life and how good things went.
Catch me after summer.
I will.
And catch me outside.
I will. And for the rest of y'all, I thank you for tuning in and for joining me with this great man, this guy that has integrity and is, pushing his weight around. I'm thankful for him. And thanks for joining me, and we'll see you next week.